All right, can everybody hear me okay? Hopefully there's no echo today. I'm using StreamYard for the first time and I'm hoping everything's working good. How you doing, Lewis? And then I'm trying to see if I can pull up on my phone the chat. We'll see here in just a second if I can do that. Nope, good, loud and clear. Thanks, Lewis. All right, so this is kind of a impromptu live stream that I kind of decided to do because I'm doing some test washes on the Bismarck, and as you can see on the deck right here, I tried using the black flat line or panel line accent color by Tamiya, and it because this is a flat clear gloss coat, it didn't quite come off of the decking as much as I'd like. Thankfully, the reason I tested the panel line on this section is because I'm going to be painting this section gray, because in kind of the theme I want to go with is the day the Bismarck was sunk, the day that she died, basically. And I think on that day the swastika was covered up with gray paint, and so I'm going to attempt to do that on this, and that should take care of this nasty black area. The only other thing, I don't have any oil paints, and I need to pick some up, but I have this Citadel wash, and it's I don't know, it's called sepia. I don't know how you say that word, Griffone or whatever. See if that'll focus. Probably not, but anyways, I tried this. It didn't give me the effect that I wanted, and you can't see it, but it's an old Citadel wash. It was part of my wife's collection back when she did the Warhammer and different small figure paintings, and it wasn't dark enough. And originally I thought about going with kind of like an umber, but like I said, I haven't gotten any of the um, oils that I wanted to try. So for now, I think, of course, sorry about that. All right, that should take care of that. The only other thing I had was this figure accent color by Tamiya, and it's a pink brown. And to be honest, to give a little bit of that reddish color maybe to the decking, I thought I'd try that. So I did a huge section back here, and I really liked how it sank into the grooves here for the decking. So I ended up doing a wash on the entire deck, and what I've noticed is it did darken it a little bit. So if you look at the difference, so let's say this back section here, without looking at all that black, nasty crud that's on there, it darkened the decks. And I don't think I like that, but you know what? At this point, it is what it is. And so what I'm going to do now is apply the same accent, that pinkish brown, to these areas. And what I've been doing is I'm new to all this. So this is where, if you guys have some tips for me, or maybe you think I should try something else before I ruin these ones and maybe go try those oils. This deck, as far as I'm concerned, um, I wouldn't be too hurt if I had to go back and strip all the paint off of this and redo it, uh, because I do have the paints that I mixed up to match the rest of the deck, so I could easily fix this one. It would just take some more time, and I need this deck. That is my problem right now with being able to film part 1 of the Bismarck build, is I need this deck to build part 1, and it's one of the first things that you pull out of your pack to build, because you're going to be adding some things onto it. So the sooner I get this done, the better. And that black really bugs me, but like I said, I'm from about here to here is all going to be gray. And I'm going to try to use the German gray, which is a little bit darker. However, it's hard to tell from pictures just how dark that really was. And there are some people that say there was a tarp covering those, but when I went back and looked at more of the history, see, there's a sailor that survived, and he said that it was tarped on the day that it sunk, but then other reports state that this was actually painted and that the admiral or whoever had told them to paint over them with the gray paint. That is the other thing too. I don't have it out right now, but the forecastle deck being darker with the pinky color makes it look wetter as it. Okay, that actually is a good point. So Lewis, do you think I should just stick with this wash that I did and carry on with it? Because if it doesn't look bad, it's not kind of what I had envisioned in my mind. So Lewis, if you think it does kind of add that wet look to it, then I can kind of carry that through with the rest of the model as I'm detailing it and weathering it. Hi, Mark. How are you? It's good to see you. And Eric, thanks for joining, Eric. I know editing takes up a lot of time, so. But yeah, give me your thoughts on if I should just carry on with this, because what it does is it does kind of leave a shine to it, a little bit of a shine. And my other question is, because I've never really used these products before, is because I've already put the flat clear coat on the whole deck, and then I'm applying this over the top of that flat clear coat, do you think that I need to go and apply a gloss over the top of it again, or should I just leave it and call it how it is? So that's kind of my question for you guys. I'm going to try to see if I can find the the Antoine gun, because I have a couple of questions on that too. So I'll be right back. And I just called it Antoine. It's Anton, I believe. I just need to figure out where. Oh, I know where it is. I put it where it belongs. And Lewis was saying with the forecastle deck being darker with the pinky color makes it look wetter as the water is breaking over the bow. I do agree with that. So here is Anton, and in my research, so this is all ready to go. All the parts in here are painted and clear coated. This is something that you will be seeing on the Patreon channel, as well as on the Buy Me a Coffee channel, is all the work I've done to these parts to make them to where I want them to be. So I did go through and I painted basically everything. The problem with the kit as it shows up to your house, even though it's painted and all that, they didn't paint the plastic parts. They're kind of they look plastic. They're gray. They look plastic. So what I chose to do was go back and paint them, clean them up, and the guns themselves, they had a seam line, and I think these are cast. So somehow the mold allowed a little seam line, which this one actually turned out beautifully. I got pretty much the entire seam taken out of it. Then I repainted it, and I also bored out. I don't know if you're going to be able to see when they come. I don't have one that I haven't done, but when they come to you, they yeah, you can't really see that, but they have a tiny pinhole. Well, what I did was I drilled that out and drilled it deeper into the barrel so it looks better to me. This one turned out really well. The other one, I'll pull that out for you. And this doesn't belong here. This goes over here. So this one, my drill bit kind of went off center a little bit. So it's a little off center, and I wasn't terribly happy with it. And I can still see a very, very faint seam line in that. So what I think I'll do when I put this on the model, if I'm able to put it with that seam line down, then I'll put the seam down so you won't really see it very much. I could also turn it in so it's on the inside. And when I display this, it's going to be going on top of our little hutch that we have in the living room. And so then it's going to be up higher. And if I want to bring it down, I did spend the extra money on the display case, the plastic or plexiglass display case. It might be glass, but I doubt that. I think it's plexiglass that you can order with it. So it'll be in a display case and all that. But my question too is on the day that it sunk, I was told that these were more of a lighter color, almost like a tan or a yellowish tan, but I don't know. I like how they look right now, and I spent all that time painting it this way. So we'll see what happens down the road if I decide to change that or not. But let's go ahead and get moving on with the wash. So I don't see anybody else saying not to proceed with the wash. So let's go ahead and give it a go. And what I've been doing. Oh yes. Also, I do need to do the final video for this, and I have a few other things I need to do. But this is my mini craft model kits. You can see the box right here. The mini craft model kits 1/144 scale Messerschmitt BF 110, and these were the livery options, and I went with this one just because I really like the way that it looks, and I didn't want to do a camo pattern just on this particular model. I'm going to try on this one. This is the Supermarine Spitfire, I believe. And I'm going to most likely do camo on this. This is really ugly right now. I have so much to do to it, but this is one of my paint mules that I threw together because it was $5 at Hobby Lobby. And so anyways, back to this guy. So a couple of things I have left to do is I want to when I put the decals on, it took away from that little bit of a weathered look that it had. So I'm going to try to weather these a little bit over the decals. Then I can take my mat. Oh yeah, then I need to clear coat or flat clear coat it one last time to lock in the decals. And then I will be removing the mask on the mast there and painting the panel lines on the all the canopy, painting it those little lines black, which will be fun because those are itty bitty. And then the last thing to do will be to run the cables that run to the back of the tail fin. So that's quick update on this little guy. And this has been a lot of fun. I definitely will be building more of these down the road. So hi, Sarah Jane and Muse. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. So I'm going to move all that out of the way, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply that wash to my work area here, to the decks of the Bismarck, and get those finished up. And they do have to sit for a little bit. That's what I did with this one. And then I just kind of dabbed it to try to get that glossiness up a little bit so it's not totally glossy all over. So let's go ahead and get this ready to go. And kind of try not to make too much of a mess here. You know, one thing I was doing, usually when I paint, I put a towel down, but the white towel really kind of messes with the camera. So I'll probably regret not using it. But let's go ahead and give this a shot. And what this figure accent color does, from what I've noticed, is it has this kind of a pinkish brown, I don't know what you would call it, pigment or whatever, that settles. And what it does is it settles really nicely down into the crevices of the wood decking. And that's where you get that nice little accent. And the black was way too dark, and then the brown just didn't pop with the colors that the deck is painted. So that's why I tested this one out, and because I had it on hand and figured it would do a decent job. And so far it looks pretty good, because it kind of gives the decking a little bit of a pinkish red tint to it, which I do like. But don't go heavy on the rest of the decks, as high will be drier. Okay, thanks, Lewis. What I think I can do is I can kind of get that glossiness off. And maybe what I could do with the upper decks too, Lewis, is put that flat clear over the top of this accent color and see if it doesn't screw it up. If it just kind of locks it in place and doesn't give it a shininess, which is what I'm trying to avoid overall. So what I'm going to do is I'll let this guy sit for a minute, and I'll come over here and just apply this, because what that it's kind of like, I don't know, I think of it more as like sediment, but what it does is it falls into all the cracks and crevices, and then you just carefully wipe off the top, and it leaves that sediment or pigment in the panel lines. I think in the future, I'm definitely going to have to get some like the Aptalung 502 or whatever it is, the oils, and try to make my washes from the oils, because the oils seem to do a really good job, and they don't leave that glossiness behind, because I feel like I'm having to apply a lot of this accent color. And it's a lacquer. I can smell it. It's kind of a lacquer, and it leaves that shininess behind. And it also seemed to darken. It's not darkening these as much, I don't think, as it did the front section of the bow. So I'm going to call that good. Let this sit for a few minutes. Try to pick up some of the excess here. Yeah, Dirk, it was kind of a impromptu thing, and I needed to get this done, and I wanted to film some of it, but it's like I've been promising a Bismarck video for so long, and a lot of the prep work for the Bismarck is only going to be available on Patreon and on Buy Me a Coffee. And it's I think it's fair to kind of let the viewers know that have been waiting for this for so long that I am working on it. I've got a lot of things I've been trying to do to prep the Bismarck to get part one out to everybody on the channel. And so part one, hopefully, if this turns out the way I like it, I can film part one of the Bismarck build this week and get it out to everybody on YouTube. And then I will feel better for making everybody wait for so long. So that's kind of the idea was, you know what, I need to film it, and I haven't put out a video. I put one out last week, and I didn't do Sunday morning coffee with Kalan, so figured why not do a live stream today and show everybody the progress that's been happening here on the Bismarck. So it's been an interesting adventure, I'll tell you that much. Yes. Just for you. I do have my coffee. In fact, I'm going to take a sip of it right now because it's starting to get cold. All right. Lewis said, sorry, back now. Had to deal with Nat and the kids. That's all right. I can understand that. Oh, really, Muse? So you actually use this one for skin tones? That's good to know, because we do have our figureheads that I still need to prime them up and get them ready, but this will be besides doing little tiny miniature cockpit, pilots and stuff, I haven't done any figures, and I do have some figures coming up on the channel. In the very near future, we're going to be doing the Sucker Punch Girls in pretty large scale. So I will be experimenting with these 4 guys on skin tones and trying different things. And yeah, so that'll be exciting to try. So this one was actually sent to me by Hobbies Unlimited in Portland, Oregon. She had a bunch of stock that she was getting rid of when she had to close her store, and she just said, hey, do you mind if I just send you a bunch of things free of charge, just because she needed to get rid of them and get them kind of clear up some space in her storage shed. So she sent me a bunch of little things like this, some figure accent colors and stuff like that I've never used. So it's kind of cool, and I'm learning as I go along. But before I let this get too far away from me, what I did with the last one, so I'll do it with this one as well, is I just kind of went through and cleaned up these areas where glue is going to be going, because I don't want a lot of this sediment going in there, because I don't know how it's going to react with the glue. And since Dirk's here, if you're still watching, Dirk, I have a question for you. After applying this wash, or the figure accent color as a wash, do you think I should go back over it with a flat clear, which was originally my plan? Or once I put the wash on, should I just leave it and call it good? If you can understand that. 'Cause I'm kind of all over the place right now. But I do definitely appreciate all of your guys' input. Because this is, to be honest, the first time I have really applied a wash to a deck. So in the past, when I was a kid, you know, and I built the Bismarck and other kits, I really didn't care. But this one, you know, I'm spending a lot of time on it, and I really want it to look good. So all of the help that you guys give me is very, very much appreciated, and it does help. So all these little tiny holes for where things are going to plug into down the road. And that's the other thing I'm kind of wondering is, during the build process of the Bismarck on all the other channels I've watched and other people building it, they always use super glue or CA glue to put everything in place. And I'm wondering, and that, you know, that's just on a deck that comes the way that it comes from Eagle, or from Agora Models. And so my curiosity now is, should I use something different, or will CA glue or super glue hold the parts in place after I've done all this painting and all this work to it? Typically on a kit, when I'm building a plastic model, what I do is I scrape off the painted area for the glue points. And there's a lot of glue points in here, and so that would take some time to do, which, you know, I wouldn't mind at all doing all that, but I just, is it necessary, I guess, is my question. For those of you that, you know, are familiar with these builds, because this is plastic and the majority of the parts going into it are plastic. There are some metal bits that those, I understand them, why they use the CA glue, because that bonds plastic and metal a little bit better than other glues. I do also have epoxy glues that I could possibly use. So just 1 second and I'll look back up at the chat. I'm just trying to get all this excess out of here. Thanks again for stopping by and checking out the live stream, guys. And I do appreciate it. And it's nice to give you guys kind of a look at the Bismarck finally and what's been going on with her. So Lewis was saying he hasn't scraped any paint off of his. Buck said, my thoughts would be to apply a flat clear sealer once you finish the wash. Okay, I'm hoping that was kind of my plan. I just am not sure if it was going to screw it up. So what I'll do is I'll let this wash really dry for maybe a few days, and come like Thursday or Friday, do that clear coat, that flat clear, to lock it in. Do I have any mods on my channel? Not yet. And I say that because I'm torn between. So I have some mods for the Eleanor. I'm just torn on whether or not I'm going to continue the Eleanor. I probably will continue it, and what that means is that I have to go back and add a bunch of things to the bumpers. The mods for the Bismarck, I might share some of them and most myself. And the Bismarck is the one I'm really diving into and modifying more than any of the other builds. I do have for the Ecto 1, which is, I have not received any new parts for the Ecto 1. I don't know when those are going to be coming in. But I do have, and I still need to do a video on this. Mark's Mods did a video on it. So Chloe over at Model Mods with a Z over in the UK, she has this power mod for the Ecto 1. And I think she also did another power mod for the Back to the Future car for that one. I'm not positive, but I'm not building that one. And what it is I'll do a video on this so you guys can really see more of what's inside. But basically, it's a wonderful modification so you don't have to use batteries. Now, I know World of Wayne and a lot of other people have been asking her to do one for the Bismarck, because in all honesty, if you're going to have it displayed and have all the light or all the lights working and everything else going, it's going to suck up battery. And so we'll see if she comes out with something like that. The Ecto 1, if I continue the Ecto 1, there are a ton of modifications to that one that I will be putting on my channel, just because I want to, I want people to see what my thoughts are on the Ecto 1 and the mods without having to spend a ton of money. Stuff that you can do yourself. Like you could either, instead of, and Mike Lane has a lot of really good stuff, but some of it's very expensive. And to me, it's like I could do that for a lot cheaper. And you can buy the felt that he uses and you can cut it all out yourself. You can also use flocking instead of the carpet mat that you can buy. And so there's a lot of different things with that I'll be showing on the channel. So Partwork Upgrades are doing a power mod Partwork's doing it. So for those of you that don't know, so there's a couple of different companies out there, and Partwork Mods or Partwork Upgrades is Ian Campbell, and he does a lot of beautiful different accessories and things like that. So he, the link to, I believe I have a link to Partwork Upgrades as well as Model Mods in my description of my videos. So definitely go and check that out because if you're interested in certain things, and you can use a lot of those in other kits as well. So it's pretty awesome, some of the stuff that they've come out with. So now what I'm doing is I'm basically just trying to dab the excess off the top without really, I don't want to drag it across because I'm afraid I will lose some of that pinkish brown. And you guys can't see it as well as I can, but that maybe you can, but that pinkish brown is really popping out of the panels, and you can kind of see it on the edge here. And it just, you know what? It looks really good. I wish it would fill in these lines going this way more, but I'm happy with how it looks right there. So very nice so far. I'm going to put this off to the side real quick. And as you can see, I think part of the problem was I waited too long to do, or I didn't wait long enough, excuse me, to do the wash on this after I applied this. And I think some of the black dragged through. So Lewis, it actually kind of works because it makes it look a little bit darker, I think, too. And again, this part will be all gray for the paint that covered up the swastika on the deck. And I think maybe I can figure out a way to keep some of that glossiness in there by using a mixture of this kind of like a semi-gloss clear and just running it down some of these edges on the bow. and in a few other areas where there would be a lot of water transfer. And the upper or the raised decking for the chain guide, it's supposed to be a lighter color. And I did succeed at making it a little bit lighter, but now after doing the wash, it's really dark. So I think it may just have to be what it is, but we'll see as we keep moving forward. And I'm going to go back to chat here for a minute. Connor's building a plane in 1/72nd scale. He's been using my airbrush when it comes to the figure. I asked if I could do it, and he said no. Oh man! But you know what? You can always kind of oversee him working on the figure and pass down some of your knowledge and some of the stuff that you've learned, Lewis. But that's cool. It's awesome that he's building that. Definitely following in your guys' footsteps. And Buck was saying he's on his PC while I build reports on my work laptop. And he also said, my thoughts would be to apply a flat clear sealer once you finish the wash. Awesome. Yeah, the other one, Mark, that I would love to see a power mod done for is the fire truck, and I know that somebody's going to do it at some point, and that will be awesome because mine will be on display at our fire hall here in Yreka, and it's probably just going to be plugged in all the time. And when we do tours and stuff with the kids, we'll have it active. And Chloe has some really neat ideas that I hope she's able to do in regards to possibly getting water to flow through the pump. So if she is able to make that happen, it'll be such a cool addition to the kit for the actual museum for kids to see, because then they can come and it'll be a little bit more interactive. So I'm going to try to wipe down my mess here really quick. See if this stuff does not come up if it dries. So it's coming up a little bit there. And I know, I think Kenny has started a trend with the pink mats. Everybody wants one now. But the pink mats, they actually do show up really well on camera. And, you know, seeing Wayne's on his channel, it shows up really well. The black does too, especially when you've got the lighter color plastic parts. And so I've been trying to find a larger black mat. I have a little one that I use a lot of times, but this blue doesn't mess with the camera too much. But there is these two turned out a lot less dark than this one did, so I'm pretty happy with that. And all right, Lewis, take care, and I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. And Totally Scale Models, how you doing? Mark from Mark's Mod said, I would recommend putting a protective coat on the black parts where the anchor chains will be, as the metal will rub the paint off. Yeah, definitely. So all of this is sealed currently, but I will be putting another coat over the top of it. And then these, though, I'm not sure if they should be kind of a glossy or stick with the with the flat clear that I put on, because they do look really nice after I repainted them. And I do have a little bit of bleed that bled through my tape, which is sort of faded out a little bit with the wash that I put on. So see, Wayne has a code for his pink mat. It means he's working at difficult. That's true. That is very true. So that is basically where I'm at. I think what I'm going to do now is just kind of let this dry, maybe for a day or two. And then the German gray, the only problem I have with the German gray is how dark it is for painting over this section of the deck. So from pictures that I've seen, though, it was pretty dark, but I don't know if I want it to be this dark. This is very, very dark. So I was thinking of using a different color of gray, like a lighter gray. I just really haven't decided yet. So you guys will know when I pick it what to put down, but I'm not going to put it down today just because I want this all to dry for at least a day, maybe longer. And then I will carry on with the rest of it. So go ahead and peel this off. Really, really happy with how that accent turned out. It's very subtle, but at the same time, it looks really good. It didn't. The problem with trying to do those black lines was it kind of made it pop a little bit too much, and it just doesn't seem accurate to me for wooden decking. So that pinkish brown has really kind of separated those panels or the different areas of the decking and made it pop. So there's it's very difficult to see on camera, but see if it'll focus. Not really. There we go. So hopefully you guys can see that. So it's not too dark, and I don't think it's too light either. But get rid of this. So thanks again for all of your guys' suggestions and recommendations. And I think I'm going to go ahead and close this one out and call it good. Appreciate all of you guys that did stop by. Remember to hit that like button. And once I get this posted onto YouTube, which I think it does it automatically for me. If you have any others or think of any other suggestions or comments, come back and make sure you leave them in the comment section below. And feel free to check out any of the other links I have down below. World of Wayne, I know most of you guys know him. You can always check out his channel for a full build of the Bismarck. And also Mark's Mods, who's in the chat right now. He is also doing the Battleship Bismarck, and it is coming along pretty well. He's way, way ahead of me, as is everybody, because I'm pretty far behind. Take care, Muse. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, and I will talk to all of you guys later. Hey, Jason Lang, how's it going? So I'm actually just closing up this live stream, and it will be available on YouTube after we get done. So let me do one quick thing right here. And some of these links, I don't know how they work, but this is my social media. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can always consider becoming a patron of the channel to get the exclusive behind the scenes and some of the extra stuff that we are doing on the Bismarck. I will be also posting a few other patron-only videos. I also have a account with Buy Me a Coffee, which is kind of similar. And you just, if you want to become a member, you can become a member for $1 or whatever you want, and get unlock the exclusive content. So thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you then.